Welcome, everyone, to today's UFC 205 Alvarez versus McGregor conference call. Today's call will be the first of two this week and will feature the four competitors from the two co-main event title fights scheduled for Saturday, November 12th at the inaugural UFC event at Madison Square Garden. We are pleased to have participating with us on the call today UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley, number 2 UFC welterweight contender Stephen Thompson, UFC Women's Strawweight Champion Joanna Jedrzejczyk, and number 2 UFC Women's Strawweight contender Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I will now turn things over to the call center to open it up for questions.
Thank you, everyone. If you'd like to ask a question at this time, please signal us by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Once again, that is star 1 if you do have a question or comment. We'll pause a brief moment. And once again, as a reminder, it is star 1 if you do have a question or comment. All right, our first question comes from Jim Edwards with The Independent.
Good evening, everyone. My first question is for Tyron. Tyron, we've seen on your social media that you've brought Sage Northcutt into your camp to help you prepare for this fight. I've got two questions, really. Firstly, what was it about Sage that convinced you that he'd be a good guy to come in and help you prepare for Stephen? And secondly, putting on your analyst hat for a second here, how good do you think Sage really is at this point in his career, and how far do you think he is on his kind of development?
Hello?
Yes, Tyron.
Sorry, this is him.
Yeah, sorry, Tyron. I'll repeat the question. I said, I see you brought Sage Northcutt into your camp to help you prepare for the fight. Firstly, what was it about Sage that kind of convinced you that he'd be a good guy to come in and help you prepare for the fight? And secondly, putting your analyst hat on, how good do you think Sage is right now, and how far do you think he is on his progression into the fight game?
Man, we all have had our comments about Sage as a fighter. I think, some of the fighters were a bit envious of his entrance into the UFC and some of the endorsements and some of the things that came with him being so young. But we all had something to say, me included. And after training with him, I had to bite a couple of my words because he's way more well-rounded than what I expected, what I thought. He's strong, he's powerful, he's fast, and he's a great resource to train with. So I had to bite my own words. And, I would say as long as he stays focused and stay true to who he is, because it sounds like everybody wants to be somebody else, as long as he can do that, I think he has a long way in this sport. He's young. Sometimes we forget that he's not even 20 years old yet, and we want to compare him to guys that are, my age. He calls me like Mr. Woodley, and it feels so weird, but I'm like, this kid's 19 years old.
And again to Tyron, obviously a lot was made about the fact that you got booed at the press conference a few weeks ago. Are you kind of expecting that again when you get in the octagon at UFC 205? And would that even kind of play on your mind at all? Would it affect you?
No, it's not going to affect me. I mean, it didn't really affect me then. I was just kind of surprised because, when you think about the reasons why people boo an individual, I really don't have too many things, in that category. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I'm a top fighter. I'm a champion. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm own the gym. I'm an analyst. So I do so many positive things in and outside the octagon that it just caught me by surprise. But just looking back in hindsight, I think a lot of the fans in general misunderstood what I was meaning when I was saying that, okay, these are the opponents that, I want to look in the face in, because these were the guys that, the UFC and the fans, they were doing polls on Robbie Lawler fighting certain people. And my opponent at that time, thought that, one, it would be a better matchup and a better fight and was, be more exciting for the fans. And then after that, he thought that I would win the fight, which is his prerogative and his, he can think what he wants. But he was already writing me off, so I just didn't terribly feel obligated to, share my moment with him. I had just achieved greatness, a lifelong journey, and I didn't feel immediately right 20 seconds removed from the octagon that I had to let him share that moment with me. So that's what it is, and I think the fans took it as me not accepting fights, turning them down, and this brand-new champion trying to call all these shots when they were so far from the situation. I actually never declined Wonder Boy. When they offered me to fight the first time, I accepted it.
Thank you. Stephen, we know that you've been dreaming of this fight for a while now. You've got the opportunity. I'm just interested to hear from you. How does the dream end? What does that look like? Have you got a finish in mind, and have you got anything in particular that you're thinking of ending the fight with?
You know what? I never go out there trying to look for the knockout. It's one of those things that you got to try and let it happen. I'm ready for 5 in a round, and that's what I expected going out there. I expect the best Tyron Woodley when I step out there, and that's what I'm prepared for. And if it goes 5-5, it goes 5-5. So, yeah, man, a lot of people ask me, what are you going to finish with, a head kick or this and that? And I never go out there trying to look for the knockout, man. Just if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what I mean? Just ready to go out there and do my thing, man, next Saturday.
Thanks, Stephen. I'll move on to Joanna. Joanna, it's been a good month since you've made that transition over to ATT. I'm just interested to hear from your perspective. Was it everything that you kind of thought it would be? Has it lived up to your expectations that you were hoping for?
I'm very happy here in Florida. I'm part of ATT, and of course, I put lots on scale. Whole my fighting career, my life. I left everything in Poland. Of course, my fiance, my family is there. I will fly back and forth, but I'm planning to stay 9 months in 2017 because I would like to have 3 fights, 2-3 fights next year. But, of course, lots of questions before I've got to ATT. But after 6-7 weeks, just a week before the fight, I can honestly say that I'm very happy. I'm fresh. I'm open. I challenged myself every day. I learn new stuff. And you're going to see new Joanna in this fight. Maybe just a little bit, but I'm looking forward for my next fights with Mike Brown, Kami, Cattell, and ATT because it's a perfect place to be.
And just a quick follow-up on that. Was there any kind of negativity or what did your Polish fans think about you kind of moving over to America full-time?
Sometimes we get tired of some people, of the places, of atmosphere, and I needed to change that. Of course, I heard so many bad comments about that I left my coaches, that they made me. The champions are not made in the gym, like Muhammad Ali said. But, of course, my coaches, they helped me. I like them so much. Of course, I'm in good relation with them, with my old coaches. I'm very thankful to them for everything what they've done to me for the last few years. But it was like a transfer in the football, like a European football, in the soccer. I moved, I changed the gym because I felt that I must do this, and I feel different. I want to defend my title, and that's my goal. And so I felt like I had to do this move. Of course, I want to build myself in US more. I'm happy that I'm part of 205, probably of the biggest card which ever happened. So I'm very happy. I'm focused on my things, on good stuff. I don't care what people are saying. I feel that I know that I made a good decision, good transfer. And you are going to see November 12th in New York, but we shouldn't care about other people, what they are saying, Of course, I care about other people. I care about my family, but I don't care what people are saying, because when you're becoming more and more popular, you have more followers, more fans, but more haters as well. So I'm trying to keep on balance between good and bad comments, but I'm not reading the bad comments, I'm not reading the good comments, I'm not checking the comments under the interviews or the pictures of me on other websites than my website, my Instagram, or my Facebook. That's all. I'm focused, and you're going to hear and still on 205.
Thank you. My final question is just for Karolina. Karolina, you're still in Poland. You're still training there in Lodz at Shark Top Team. What is the reaction been like from the Polish people since the fight has been announced? Is everyone in Poland extremely excited about this? Are all the media talking about it like we hoped they would be?
Yes, in Poland this is really a big thing. Two Polish fighters will fight on the biggest event in the world. So this is something big, and people are very excited and very happy.
Thank you all. I'll see you in New York next week. Thanks.
And next we'll take Damon Martin with Fox Sports.
Let me start with Tyron. Tyron, I'm kind of curious, going into this fight, I know you've addressed it before, going in as a bit of an underdog, according to the odds makers, and, fighters have picked against you in the past. But why is it, do you feel like you're so underrated, considering your record and the guys you've beaten and knocked out? Why are people still underrating you for some reason?
Because you don't fight fights on paper. I've been an underdog my last 6 fights, I think. I think I've won 5 of the last 6, so I don't really focus on it, and I just go out there and do my deal.
Before this fight happened, I know you kind of addressed it already. You were interested in a fight with George St. Pierre. We know that, the contract situation with him. I don't want to look past Wonder Boy, but I'm curious, is that still a fight that you would like to have in the future?
I'm just focusing on fighting Steven right now. I think thinking down the road, obviously with an opponent that's as difficult as Wonder Boy, thinking even beyond Saturday, thinking of Sunday can put you in a position where you might end up on the canvas. So I'm just blocking all those things out and going out there and focusing on this fight.
And I know you've kind of transferred a lot of your training up to Milwaukee. I know you're still part of American Top Team, but what is the biggest thing that Duke Roufus and those guys have added to your camp? It seems like you have been spending a lot more time there over your last couple of fights.
Really just bringing the best out of me. Making fighting fun again. It's a smaller, more intimate deal. It's closer to home. So if I need to bus home to watch a football game or something like that, it's a 45-minute flight or a short drive. So I think just in general, the fight philosophy that Duke has goes hand in hand with my guys from American Top Team. Dean Thomas is out here now. He's been out here the majority of the camp. So those guys together are just beautiful minds in the sport, and they're open to other ideals, and they're open to other trainers and coaches coming in, and there's no ego involved. So, you'll obviously it would be a little awkward for me to train down there when I was competing against Robbie, and just for this particular style, I think I needed more, one-on-one attention. But in the future, you'll see me doing some training at Coconut Creek as well.
Awesome. And a question for Steven, kind of the reverse of what, Tyron's going through. A lot of guys are picking you. I know Damian Maia picked you. Kelvin Gastelum picked you. A lot of the other fighters in the division are picking you. I guess that has to feel good, but at the same time, does that put any extra pressure that a lot of people are picking you to win this fight?
I don't sit there and really look at that kind of stuff or listen to that kind of stuff. And, like I said, like Thomas said, we're just focused on the fight, man, and that's all I'm worried about. There's a lot of fighters who actually think into a lot of that stuff. Oh man, I got this. Next thing you know, they're slacking off in training, but not me, man. I'm ready for the best Tyron Woodley when I step out there November 12th, man, and that's what I'm prepared for. So I block all that stuff out and just focus on what I need to be doing.
And it was a question kind of asked earlier, Tyrone, talking about working with Sage Northcutt. I know he had mentioned, he's emulating you a little bit. And obviously, you and Sage are different fighters, different weight class. But I am kind of curious, his addition of a guy like Sage and what you think about that. And, I mean, how hard is it to duplicate your style? You do have a pretty unique style in the octagon.
Yeah, man, I do. But if you go back and you watch Sage, man, we do have a similar style. He does come from a karate background. He does some of the flashy stuff that I like to do as well. So, you know what I mean? I'm just prepared, knowing that Tyron probably has seen some of the stuff that I throw that I'm going to be throwing. Because I know Sage he's a karate guy, and he's going to go out there and try to simulate the best Steve Wonder Boy Thompson he can. And you know what? That's okay. I'm ready for it, man. No matter what.
And a question for Joanna. Joanna, obviously you have beaten, most of the top contenders, in the strawweight division. Do you feel in any way that Carolina is a little bit of the last challenge for you here? I mean, are there other fighters that are coming up that you have your eye on, or do you feel like, with a win over Carolina, you have at least a little bit kind of cleared out the division?
No, I don't think so. There is so many this. The strawweight division maybe is the lightest division in the UFC, but we are very tough fighters. I mean, my last fight with Claudia Gadelha in July 8 in Vegas was pretty tough, and I know that I put a really big dot on I. And the thing is, people said so many times that there is nobody who can take this belt away from me, but isn't true. I'm trying to stay humble. This camp was even harder than it was before the fight with Claudia Gadelha. So definitely I'm focused. I keep my eyes open, and I'm training very hard because there's lots of talent in this division. So definitely this fight with Carolina, it's a big challenge for me, but I will win this fight, and you're going to be surprised how I'm going to win this fight.
I'm curious, Joanna, you did fight Carolina when you were both amateurs. Now, obviously, that's years ago, and you both have developed a lot since then. But just kind of your thoughts on Carolina as an opponent. I mean, does she impress you? I mean, does she do anything that really impresses you? Or do you feel like this can be a pretty dominant performance for you?
I'm impressed of myself how I did in this camp. Yesterday I finished my sparring session, the hardest part of the camp. So now it's time for relaxing, getting the fresh air. You know what I mean? The speed. So I'm very focused. I'm very calm. I'm more calm every day, even the emotions are taking over, but I'm more and more calm like it was before the fight with Claudia Gadelha, I put on the great preparations. I'm very happy that I'm going to face Karolina Kowalkiewicz. It's going to be a really beautiful morning for Polish fans, because in Poland it's going to be very early, November 13, when we're going to fight in New York. So it's a big deal, I love my country. Even I moved to Florida, I'm still Polish. I love my city, and I'm doing this for them, So I'm representing my country. Even I must face Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Okay, we fought in 2012. It was my first or second amateur fight. Same with her. So I know that she's a different fighter. She proved that she can join the UFC. She had 3 fights. She won with draws. Who's supposed to be my next challenger? But I'm happy for Karolina, for all of us, for Polish MMA, and this is going to be a historical moment for the female MMA in Poland and for the MMA in Poland,
Yeah, and last question for you, Joanna. After your last fight, you mentioned specifically wanting to fight in New York and fighting on a big card like this. But I remember you also said before your last fight, you mentioned the possibility of becoming a 2-weight world champion. It's a lot of attention on Conor McGregor doing it on this card. I'm curious, is that still something that's in the back of your head? Hopefully, that the UFC would ever introduce a 125-pound division.
Sure, I'm keep on busy. After the fight, I fly to Argentina for some TV program with the Polish crew for a few weeks. Then I will fly back home for Christmas. It's a very important time for me, for my family. So I will be back to Coconut Creek at the end of January. And I was thinking maybe I could fight in March, but because I want to do 2-3 fights next year, and I want to fight 1-2 more times in the strawweight division, and I would like to fight in 125. The thing is, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm working with the perfect lean athletes right now, so the weight cuts are very easy. I'm healthy. Before I broke my hand twice, and it was not good for me. I had to take longer break, but now I'm feeling great. So I'm ready to go. I know that I'm not the prettiest one. I'm not having big boobies, or I'm not American, but I want to people remember me as the best female fighter and as the undefeated MMA and the UFC champion of the world.
Awesome. Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
Joanna, you are an original gangster.
Who said that? Tyrone?
What's up? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good. Good to hear you.
And just a reminder to our audience, it is *1 if you do have a question or comment at this time.
I have questions.
Go ahead.
I don't.
Okay. And we have next in our queue E. Spencer Kite with the province.
First one is for Tyron. A lot was made of the 18-month break between the fight with Calvin Gastelum and the title fight with Robbie. Questions about rust and layoff and all of that. But how influential and essential was it for you to get better during that period to have the performance you had against Robbie?
I feel like I was just a thief in the night. And, nobody saw any footage of me fighting. They didn't know what I was working on. I had a chance to grow as a martial artist. But don't get it confused. A lot of people, Stevie included, called it me waiting it out and called me, act like I was just in a beach in an island just having margaritas. I had a full training camp to fight Johnny Hendricks. Unfortunately, you know what happened there. But that's something that you can't charge for my card. I was prepared. I was ready to fight. And after that fight, in January, I was told that I was going to be fighting Robbie. So I thought I was just waiting on a date and not, specifically waiting on, opponent or declining matchups. None of those things happened. So technically, it was 18 months that you guys didn't see me in the octagon, but it wasn't 18 months off, and I think that's what made it very difficult to prepare for as an opponent. And even in this particular fight, it's just tough because I fought, and, one thing that people fail to give credit for is that was the fastest finish in UFC welterweight history in a championship fight. So you still really didn't get an opportunity to see what I've been working on, and that's my little ace in the hole that I plan on taking in all my fights.
You've always talked about needing to put all the skills together at the right time on that night. There have been some ups and downs over your UFC career, but does it feel now like all those ducks are in a row and everything is lining up correctly for you?
I just feel like, when Dean and Duke Rufus and Dean Thomas collaborate together, they've really been able to glue the pieces together. And I feel like, the fun, sometimes we can lose the fun in the sport. Just dealing with politics, dealing with trolls, dealing with, the rigorous day-to-day walking in and out of gyms. We lose the passion. We lose what we started fighting for. I found it again. It's fun again. I feel like this is my first world title. I don't feel like I'm defending the belt. It didn't feel the same way when I was fighting Robbie because it was a guy that I respected, a guy that was a teammate and friend. So it was awkward. I had to go out there and do what I had to do. But I'm in there with a chip on my shoulder, like this is the first time I'm going after the belt, and that's the way the training camp has been. And I think you guys will see that passion within the octagon, and you'll see that resemble in my performance.
And one for Joanna. This time last year, you were preparing to fight at UFC 193 alongside Ronda Rousey. This time preparing to fight on the biggest card in UFC history. What does it mean to you to continue to be a part of these big shows? And does moving to ATT and being based in the U.S. as well as being a part of this event,
finally I can make some money. I never complain about the money, and I'm not gonna do this. I'm just joking. I'm very happy that I can be on the card with. That I can fight on 205, that I can fight in New York on the first UFC event in New York. I'm very happy to fight on the same card with Conor, with Eddie, with Tyrone, with Steven, and with the other fighters. This card is amazing card, so I'm very happy. It's a pleasure for me. Like I said, I want to be part of the biggest UFC shows ever. But my dream is to fight in Poland. But next year, now it's time to build myself in US more. I've got lots of attention after my fight with Claudia. So I'm ready to take over the UFC show 205.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
And next we have Scott Bailey with the Australian Associated Press.
Yep. My question's for Joanna. Just wondering, I guess, do you think many other Polish fighters might come back over to the US there and start training across in Florida?
Say again?
Do you think many other Polish fighters might follow your lead, I guess, and move across to the US for training, particularly in Florida?
Krzysztof Jotko is here. He fights just a week after me. I heard that some other Polish fighter is coming. Peter Sobota is here. He's helping Krzysztof to get ready for his fight. I don't know. I'm trying to be focused on myself. I'm very happy that I did this move. Like I said so many times, the coaches are very good. The fighters are very good. The atmosphere, the facilities is perfect. So it's a perfect place to be. Of course, I miss my family. I miss my old gym, my coaches. But it's time for new Joanna, and I'm coming, guys. I'm coming.
For yourself or even for Carolina, do you think we might see, I guess, a surge in European fighters becoming champions? I mean, obviously, the Americans have got a history of creating champions in UFC, but do you think we could see a change?
Say again?
Do you think we could see a change, a surge in European fighters becoming champions? Obviously, the Americans have the history there, but could we see
Sure, okay, now I'm training here at ATT, probably one of the best MMA gyms in America. I can compare the European and the American style. What is in plus in US that I have so many top level sparring partners in my gym. The coaches are very good. The facility is very good. My coaches back home, they are good. They were good, but I felt like I had to change something. So I wish that there will be more champions from Europe. Conor McGregor, me, Bisping. So we're happy, So I hope that there is more coming.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move to Kendrick Johnson with RingTV.com.
My first question is for Joanna. How much confidence does ATT give you with the type of sparring that you get and have the quality contenders that you wouldn't get in Poland?
I was born with my confidence. I'm from Poland, so that's why, But honestly, they changed my game. Like I said, I challenged myself in this camp every day. I learn new stuff every day, and my game is going to be different. So I'm even more confident for this fight, for the next fights than I was before. But it's because of I've been working so hard, and that's the reason that I'm so confident. Of course, I stay humble. I still like passionate about this sport, and I want to do more. After every practice, I'm very hard for myself. I want to do more. I want to be better version of myself every day.
Do you think you need to win this fight to kind of be a legend?
I want to be a legend. I want people to talk about me in 5, 10 years, 20 years. That I was one of the best MMA female fighters. That I was one of the best UFC champions in the world back in the day. This is what I want. But I just want to retire as undefeated champion. This is my goal. This is my dream, and I want to make this dream become alive. That's what I want.
And for you to, see how to phrase this, the fact that you got the big stage and everything, do you feel that you have to knock her out, or are you cool with going another 25?
I don't. I respect every of my opponents, and I respect Karolina so much. She's very tough. She's Polish too, so she's very confident as well, and she's a tough fighter. But I mean, like, you know, I don't like predictions, you know. I don't like to say that I will knock her out because we can have so many game plans for our fights until we step into the octagon and we face our opponents. So I'm ready, I feel ready, and I will put on show November 12th.
My next question is for Wonder Boy. Steven, would you say this is the biggest fight of your life?
Yeah, man, this is it, man. This is fighting for the welterweight champion, the welterweight title, and fighting the champion. So, yeah, I believe this is the biggest fight of my career, man.
Well, so how do we know, or do you even know that this stage won't be too big for you? The fact that Tyron's got the experience, is kind of used to being in these big fights. Not that you have been in big fights, but on stages of this magnitude.
Yeah, man, this is definitely a step up. I mean, my last 3 fights were main events, and my last one was actually in my opponent's hometown. But you know what? I treat it as every other fight, man. All I can do is prepare myself the best way I can. And in doing that, it gives me the confidence to step out there against anybody. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm prepared for, you know. It's that confidence. And I do it in the gym. The people that I surround myself with has helped me get to where I am. And that's it, man. Just putting the work in the gym, and that gives me the confidence to step out there against anybody.
And my final question is, we know you've worked tremendously on your takedown defense. Do you fear, with Tyron's high wrestling pedigree, do you think that's going to be a factor into the fight?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I think that everybody I step out there with is going to want to take me down eventually. And, I've been working on wrestling tremendously, man. You know, Chris Weidman, Olympic wrestler Matt Miller has been coming down to help me with my camps ever since the Cote fight, and just improving on it every day. You know, I felt like I came in the game fairly late in 2010, but, man, I've made leaps and bounds with my takedown defense. But, you know, every time I step out there, I expect to get taken down, but I'm ready for it, and pop right back up, man, and get the fight where I want to keep in that standing.
All right, good luck to y'all. See y'all in NYC next week.
See you, my friend.
Just a reminder to our audience, *1, if you do have a question or comment at this time, that's *1. We'll move next to Stephen Morocco with USA Today.
A question for Tyron and Stephen, sort of a question for both of you. If you both want to weigh in first, maybe have Tyron weigh in first. I know you said you aren't thinking about a potential fight with GSP, but just, you know, intellectually, if he does come back, do you think that he's deserving of an immediate title shot, or do you think Maia should get it? And then the same question for Stephen.
I mean, I think intellectually it would be silly to think about that right now. I know that doesn't really answer your question, but, you know, we don't know what's going on with George. You know, it sounds like he wants to fight. It sounds like it's, you know, things that are, you know, keeping him out of fighting. And, you know, that's where it's at. So our game of mixed martial art is one part entertainment, one part sport. So from a sports standpoint, it would make sense for Damian Maia to fight the winner of this fight. From an entertainment standpoint, and I guess you could say sport as well, because he left as a champion. He was he's the greatest welterweight of all time. And if he comes back, I think as a gesture, you know, of respect, I think he should, you know, I don't think he should have to fight 1 or 2 fights. I think he should come right there and fight for the title. You know, when I was getting ready to fight Robbie, it was known that, hey, George might come back. So if George comes back, then you're going to have to fight another fight, and he's going to jump you. And I knew that, and I was okay with that. So I don't think that should change for anybody. You know what I mean? I think everybody should be understanding of that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, you know, he is definitely one of the best guys who ever stepped out in the octagon welterweight, one of the best welterweights who ever stepped out there. And but to be honest, I have no idea what's going on, where he's at in negotiations, or if he's coming back or what. But yeah, man, he is, and he's one of the reasons why I got in the sport in the first place. You know, I was training up with him helping out with his fights, and that's why I actually started mixed martial arts was because of George. So, yeah, man, give him that title shot.
How likely do you think it is that he'll come back, Stephen?
You know what? No idea, man. I hear things like, oh, it's going to happen, then I hear it's not going to happen. Negotiations aren't right where they want it. Of course, he's saying he's a free agent. UFC's coming back with, no, you ain't a free agent. So, to be honest, I have no clue. No clue.
Okay. And then for Carolina and Joanna, can you just give us a sense of how big this fight is in Poland, in your native country? Like, what sort of media attention is it drawing? Is there any sort of more official response to it? Are you guys getting requests that you don't usually get, or people that you don't usually talk to or are talking about this fight? Can you just give us a sense of how big the fight is? Maybe start with Joanna.
You know what? I think that this is going to be a historical fight for Polish MMA. Fight like this is not going to happen for next few years probably. But MMA is very big and very popular in Poland. So this fight is big. Of course, people wanted this fight to happen in Poland, but we're taking over the Madison Square Garden, me and Carolina. So I think that people are very happy. Like the media are talking about this fight, all kinds of media, you know. So definitely it's going to be very good for both of us and for all of the MMA fighters in Poland.
And Carolina? We lose her?
It looks like we did lose her. I'll go ahead and dial back out to her real quick.
I can respond for her.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm very happy, but Joanna is the best.
Good answer. Thank you.
And next we'll move to Brendan Bradford with Sporting News Australia.
I've got a question for Joanna. Just to go back to your move to ATT, you said that there was a bit of disunity when amongst the other fighters at the camp when you moved. I'm just wondering, did that affect your training at all? Did it affect your build-up for this fight at all?
What do you mean?
You said that fighters like Valerie Letourneau, Tisha Torres, Nunez maybe weren't so happy that you moved there. I'm just wondering, did that affect you in any way in your build-up to this fight?
You know, they're happy for me that I'm here. Like the first week, I felt like they didn't know what was going on. You know, like in ATT there is so many like strawweights, so they didn't know that I was coming, but everything is fine. I have very good relation with all of the fighters. I have very good relation with the female fighters from ATT. We are helping each other. We are talking to each other. We see each other every day. So we have good relation, and we're very helpful to each other. Like I've been sparring for last few sparring sessions with Nina Sarov, and she was very helpful for me, and I'm very thankful to her for that. So definitely, like Jessica Aguilar, she's amazing person, amazing fighter, and amazing person. I wish that she would be back soon.
And Joanna, you said that people back in Poland maybe weren't too happy with you moving away from your base there. I mean, do you think you'll still have a majority of the support from the Polish fans going into this fight?
Yes, but you know, like I said, like I'm trying to be focused on my life, on my career. You know, like people like to live others' life. You know what I mean? So like I cannot let people do this. You know, I have my life, I have my career, and I'm happy with that. And I respond for my choices, my decisions, and I'm very happy with my decision, with my move to America, and I'm looking forward.
And just one last one. We know you fought Carolina a few years ago. How do you think she has changed and evolved in the years, since then, coming into this fight?
Definitely, she's going to be a different fighter than she was 4 years ago. It's a big deal for her. Of course, it's a big fight for both of us. For me, because I want to defend my title for fourth time already. But she's a challenger. She has nothing to lose. So I must put on great fight. I put on a great performance this camp, but I must put on good fight, and everything is going to be fine.
Thank you.
All righty, everyone. We'll move on next to Achilles Ganavarapu with Ringside View.
Hello, guys. Greetings from India. My first question is for Thompson. Now, Stephen, Woodley is known to come out aggressively during his fights. While you faced an excellent wrestler in Hendricks before and one of the best strikers in Rory, Woodley is an amazing wrestler and proved against Lawler that he also has the one-punch knockout power. So can you tell us how you plan to approach this fight?
Knowing that he's got that what was the question again? How he's got the one knockout power, how am I going to approach that?
Yeah, how are you going to approach the fight? How do you plan to approach the fight?
Well, he does, man. He's definitely got some one-hitter quitter power, as you saw when he fought Robbie Lawler, man. I mean, it took one shot, so obviously I want to stay away from that right hand, and but he's not only a good striker, he's also a good wrestler, so when I go out there, I definitely have to be on my P's and Q's, because not only can he hit you with the right hand, but he'll take you down as well. So, you know what I mean? Keeping my footwork, always moving, making it difficult for him to beat on my legs, and just try and hit and move, man. That's the only thing I can do. Try and Muhammad Ali him. But you know what I mean? He is the champion for a reason. So I'm taking that as perspective and always being aware when I'm out there.
Right, and you're also just one fight away now from winning the welterweight title. So can you also tell us what it means for you to be fighting for the title at Madison Square Garden, and on a card where your training partner Weidman will be fighting as well?
Is this to me, Stephen?
Yeah, it's for you.
Okay, yeah, man, this is definitely a dream come true, man. Hey, I went to my first UFC show. I was actually like 12 years old in UFC, I think it was UFC 2, where it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. My dad took me to that. I told myself then that, hey, man, I'm going to be fighting for the UFC one day. And now the fact that I'm actually going to be fighting for the title is, man, it's a dream come true. And not only that, being in the first show in Madison Square Garden, but also fighting with one of my best friends and brother-in-law, Chris Weidman, I'm all smiles, man. I'm super excited to step out there and just experience that octagon and share it with champions and a family member now.
All right, outstanding. I have a couple of questions for Joanna. Joanna, the strawweights have come a long way with you fighting at UFC 193 and now on the first pay-per-view in Madison Square Garden. So what are your thoughts on being a part of history?
I'm very happy that I'm going to, I'm making my history, but definitely the UFC 193 was probably the biggest show for me, and now it's time for the Madison Square Garden. But I'm enjoying my fighting life. I'm enjoying my champion life, and I definitely enjoying every single fight. Even my last fight was on smaller show on Tough Finale, but I'm very happy. I'm looking forward. I cannot wait when I will get to New York for Fight Week. Right, and you've been part of history, as I said, a couple of times before as well. So, what do you think is left for you to achieve in UFC? I know you still have a long career ahead of you, but going forward, what is the next thing that you want to achieve in the organization? I want to win this fight, and I don't know. I heard that Real Madrid offered some show on the stadium with Conor, so why not? Let's do this. All right, outstanding. Now, Joanna, Carolina brings in a different challenge from your past two opponents. So, do you have any predictions for the upcoming fight? No, I know that. I know one thing, that I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Just 10 more days, and you're going to hear and still. That's all.
Oh, yeah, outstanding. Thank you, guys. All the very best for your upcoming fights.
Thank you.
And that does conclude our question and answer session at this time. I'll turn the call back over to Dave Lockett.
Well,
thank you. See you guys.
I'd like to thank all four athletes for participating in today's call. And just a quick reminder about tomorrow's conference call, UFC 205 main event competitors, lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez and featherweight champion Conor McGregor, who will compete for the lightweight title. They'll be on the line at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time for a conference call to discuss their highly anticipated title fight at Madison Square Garden. We look forward to having you all participate in tomorrow's call, and thanks again for joining the line today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Everyone, that does conclude our conference call for today. Thank you all for your participation.